All right, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm just gonna record myself doing it personally instead of writing all the instructions and then trying to figure out what I meant. Let's just do it and you watch me do it again, and we should be okay. So make a new project, 2D project, 2D core, give your project a name. I don't care. All right, let's keep going. Yes, I use Bing. Come at me, bro. All right, so I got my 2D project. I'm gonna grab my sprites, drag them in. I am going to drag in the animations for my idle. So I'm going to make this sprite here my idle. I'm going to right click on this single sprite here and write create animation, and I'll name it idle animation. All right, that's my idle animation. Then I'm going to take the ones that seem like they make for the walk sprite. It looks like this one through looks like these four, maybe. I don't know. All right. I'm going to drag those into the scene. Where'd my scene go? All right. I'm going to drag those four into the scene. And when you drag multiple sprites at the same time into the scene, it's going to automatically create an animation. So that's going to be my walk animation. Nice. All right, cool. So I have my walk animation. I have my sprite animation. Let's just go ahead and change the name of this to player. Boom. All right, so that's my player. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. I see some blur on these sprites, and one of the things that I taught you earlier was to go ahead and change the settings to point no filter. So go to your filter mode and hit point no filter, apply. Everything should get a little better. This one not so much because I guess that's just the resolution that it had, but that's okay. All right, so I have my player. My player needs a script. Okay, I'm gonna give him a script called what am I gonna call it? Player script. That's a great idea. All right. So my player gets a player script. Player scripts. Okay. We're also going to make our own custom animator. So down here, go to create animator controller. That's the thing that controls the animations. I'm going to call it player controller. All right, player controller. This is the animator. Okay, I'm going to drag my animations in there. I'm going to drag in idle first so it becomes the default state. If you don't do that, you can just go to set layer as default state. I'm going to drag in my walk animation. All right. Now, the important thing to remember is we're not programming the animations. We already made those. We're programming the transitions between the animations. Okay. So I'm going to give my animator a parameter, a Boolean true or false, right? Called is walking. All right, boom. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to go from idle to walk. All right, right click, make transition, go to walk, right? So to go from idle to walk, then and actually I'm going to make is walking true. That makes sense, right? To go from idle to walk, is walking is true. Again, I clicked on the arrows between these animations, not the animations themselves. All right, so I'll go over this thing over here more, but right now I just want you to move this kind of endpoint to the end of the first animation, the idle anim, kind of to the end of it. So I just want to see one animation and then a clean break as you can make it, and then the second animation. All right, and then has exit time, make that false. Has exit time makes it automatically go to the next animation. We don't want to do one step and then go back to idle. That's weird. Okay, so to go from idle to walking is true. We do all this stuff over here. Don't forget to uncheck has exit time. And then to go the inverse, from inverse to idle, we're going to do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So now we're going to make it so that we go straight from walk to idle, get that as clean as possibly can. Uncheck that. So to go from walk to idle, then we're going to make walking become true. Boom. Cool. All right. Now we got to actually code these. All right. Not a big deal. So we're going to go to our player. We've added the player script. Let's go to the script. The first variable we need is a variable for walking speed. Let's just write public float walking speed or walk speed. Let's be lazy. Public float walk speed. We need to make a variable for animator. So public animator, spell it right. anim. Anim's like the standard name for an animator, so don't get too creative. And then we're going to grab the animator and start through our code. So anim equals gets components animator, parentheses, colon. All right. So basically we're going to say the update loop runs over and over again. So first thing we're going to say is if the player presses right, go right. That's pretty easy. If the player presses right, go right. All right. And that's going to be if input.getKey, watch capitalization, that's capital K, key code dot right arrow brackets. Okay, and then it's going to be transform dot translate. Ooh, look at this auto type messing me up. Transform dot translate. Transform dot translate. I went to three numbers, X, Y, Z. We're walking to the right. So it's the first number is going to be our walk speed. So it's a walk speed times time dot delta time comma 0 comma 0. So it's X, Y, Z. X is how far it's going to go to the right. We're not going to go up and down at all, so it's 0. We're not going to go in and out at all, so it's also 0. All right. That's going to basically make your character walk to the right. But, and this is not how you would really program a walking animation, but for the purposes of this exercise, I want to specify when I'm pressing down the right arrow key and when I'm releasing the right arrow key, right? So I'm going to say if the when the player presses the right arrow key down, send a message to the animator controller. All right. So I'm going to say if input, and let's be lazy. Let's copy all this. Boom. Copy, paste, right? But here's the thing. Get key right here, input.get key. That's like as long as this button's being held down, do it over and over again, right? We don't want to do that. We just want to do the moment it presses down. So it's input.get key down. So the moment you press down the right arrow key, we're going to send this information one time. So what are we going to send? We're going to tell the animator controller that is walking is true. Okay, so we're going to reference our animator, which is anim dot set bool because is walking was a boolean. Parentheses. Make sure you spell this exactly right. All right, it's called is walking. I saw lowercase I, capital W. I'll just double check that before I type it in. All right, is walking. Then after that, quotation marks, comma, true. I'm setting it to true. And I'm going to do the inverse for if it's false. So when the player releases the right arrow key, we're going to tell that is walking is false. All right, so boom, copy that. Let's be lazy. We're going to paste it. When the player releases the right arrow key, so match to the animator control. All right, so this is the one is when you release the button. So it's get key up when you let the key up. Okay, so now we're going to say when we let the key right arrow key up, we're going to tell the animator to set the is walking boolean to false. All right, boom. And I think that's it for coding. Let me double check it. All right, that's it. Okay, we are going to save this and go back to Unity. Let it process. Do I have any errors? No, nailed it. All right, cool. Player walk speed, let's set it to something. All right, sure. Make sure the player has the right animator. Doesn't have the right animator controller, all right? We were programming an animator controller called player controller, this one here, but the player has inside of it guy walking sprites. That's the one it made. We made the walking animation. So we're just going to drag the one that we actually want to use right there. And I think we're good. Let's test it out. Okay. All right, we're going to the right. The walking animation is working. Oh, but I stopped and it didn't stop. So why is that? Let's find out. All right, so let's check our animations. Our walk animation seems to have worked. So when you're having trouble figuring out what's going on, you can actually change your view so you can see your animator at the same time. So I'm going to put my animator controller over here. Okay. So it looks like it's an idle. Makes sense, right? I'm going to hit the right arrow key. It goes to, goes to walk animation, but when I let go, it's not coming back. So let's figure out what's going on. All right, I'm going to pause this. The transition from walk to idle is walking is true. Ooh, there it is. So what I said was to go from idle to walk is walking is true, right? But to go from walk to idle is walking is false, but it still says true. So I'm going to change that. Let me unplay it first. I'm going to change that. Da, 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 da. I'm going to play it again. And now we're going to see it. Okay? Boom. All right. I hit right. Is walking becomes true. You'll actually see it right here. Da, 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 da. I stop. It becomes false. We go back to idle. That's the whole assignment. All right. Make sure you're using like a walk cycle like sheet to guide you, and then use like references for all the different parts of your player. Okay. That's really it. Let me double check so you know understand what I mean. All right. I'll make a new tab. Walk cycle cartoon. There you go. Boom, there's 1,000 of them. I like this one a lot, but you don't have to use that one, all right? That's it. Do your best, high quality work, or you end up doing it again. All right, see you in a couple of days. Adios.